Your mind carries invisible commands, emotional fragments, unconscious patterns, inherited noise that blocks your highest activation. You may have read dozens of books, taken courses, meditated, prayed, but still your mind insists on getting lost in the noise. Why does clarity seem to last so little? As if something deeper, invisible, were out of alignment. The truth is, there is an intelligence more subtle than thought, a consciousness that does not move through linear logic. And it is with this that you need to realign now. Today's video is a field of energy, a vibrational portal that will open, layer by layer, the most subtle centers of your mind, so that you remember what you have always known. You are a creative consciousness, and your mind, when aligned, is the living extension of the divine. Stay until the end, because I will share a method of vibrational realignment based on esoteric wisdom and spiritual neuroscience to reprogram your mental frequency, silence intrusive thoughts, and make space for the activation of the quantum mind. If this call resonates with you, like the video now, subscribe to the channel, and get ready. Your consciousness is about to expand. You wake up, and even before opening your eyes, the mind starts talking. Thoughts about what's missing, what needs to be done, what could go wrong. This mental stream is programmed. Seems like it's you, but it's not. The mind's misalignment begins when we confuse thought with truth. When we accept, without question, the first voice that speaks within us. That voice is the echo of old wounds, unresolved traumas, vibrations inherited from the collective unconscious. How many times have you felt anxiety, insecurity, or confusion, and thought the problem was you? But what you feel is a reflection of the mental field you are immersed in. A mind that isn't anchored in quantum consciousness becomes a sponge for noise. It absorbs everything, reacts to everything, and when that happens, you stop being a creator and become just an effect. Misalignment, therefore, doesn't come from the chaos outside. It starts when your mind loses its connection with the silent source within. You must recognize that your current mind may be too busy with the world to notice the presence that sustains everything. Can you feel it? That subtle restlessness. It's your consciousness asking for alignment. The common mind, the one we inherit culturally, functions in a linear, limited way and is based on repetition. It does not create. It only organizes and repeats what has already been conditioned. Outside the field of quantum consciousness, this mind operates through fragmentation. It divides everything, classifies everything, tries to control everything. And by doing so, it completely distances itself from the wholeness of being. It feeds on memories, expectations, and comparisons. It tries to solve the present using formulas from the past and, for that reason, never accesses the now. It never touches what is real. You can notice this in daily life. When you're worried about the future, reliving old scenes, or creating mental dialogues that will never happen. This is the pattern of the common mind, disconnected from the vibrational intelligence of the present. In quantum consciousness, time is not linear. Information is not logical, it is vibrational. And the mind needs to be clean, receptive, and tuned in to perceive what cannot be thought, but only recognized. As long as your mind is only operating within rational frequencies, it will remain limited to the possibilities it already knows. But when you silence it, even for a few seconds, a new kind of perception begins to emerge. Repetitive thinking is not just a habit. It is a defense mechanism of the mind that tries to maintain a stable identity in the face of the unknown. The common mind fears silence because in silence it loses control. The more you think, the less you perceive. The more you repeat mental patterns, the less access you have to higher intelligence. This cycle of repetition is maintained through brain chemistry. Negative thoughts generate contracting emotions, and those emotions reinforce the same thoughts. This loop addicts the nervous system and traps consciousness in survival states: fight, flight, worry, anxiety. Silencing the mind interrupts this circuit. It's not about forcefully stopping thoughts, but about no longer reacting to them. Neutral observation is the key. When you become a witness to mental activity without identifying with it, the mind begins to give way. True silence is not the absence of sound. It is a state of presence where mental activity loses importance. In this space, brainwaves shift from the beta frequency of worry to alpha, theta, where subconscious reprogramming happens. To silence is to deactivate the noise so energy can reorganize itself. And only in this state does mental realignment become possible. At the core of authentic esoteric traditions, there is a principle rarely explored in modern spirituality: the inner sound as a tool for mental calibration. Ancient teachings say that true alignment doesn't start with the rational mind, but with the vibrational frequency of the consciousness that sustains it. The human body has energy centers that, when properly activated, directly influence brainwaves. Among them, the pineal gland and the heart center act as natural regulators of mental frequency. When these centers come into coherence, the mind begins to operate on a new vibrational pattern. When you direct your attention to the center of the head, especially the pineal gland area, and synchronize that attention with the rhythm of your breath, you begin to change your brainwave pattern. As you inhale slowly and imagine energy rising through your spine to the center of your head, and as you exhale feeling that energy spread through your body, a subtle but measurable shift occurs. This practice reduces surface-level mental activity and allows access to deeper states of consciousness, such as alpha and theta, responsible for insights, intuition, and emotional reorganization. This technique, present in ancient esoteric schools, does not depend on belief. It works because it aligns attention, breath, and intention, three factors that together act directly on the autonomic nervous system and brain chemistry. With consistency, this exercise becomes a tool for vibrational self-regulation, capable of taking the mind out of chaos and reconnecting it with states of coherence and real presence. Energy reprogramming begins with the understanding that the mental field is not isolated. It is interconnected with your physical posture, your emotional load, and the vibration you emit unconsciously. A disorganized mind is often anchored in a tense body and in unprocessed emotions. That's why any effective technique must involve the body, intention, and the release of residual energetic charge. For this, there is a simple and direct practice. Stand up, align your posture, keep your feet firmly grounded, and gently tap the center of your chest with your fingertips while breathing slowly and deeply. This point, known as the thymus point, not only regulates the immune system but also responds immediately to the emotional and vibrational state of the body. By stimulating this point for 2 or 3 minutes while firmly affirming internally, "I now release all energetic density and activate my state of clarity," you initiate a process of vibrational reprogramming. This combination of tapping, inner sound, and breath creates a small electromagnetic field that alters the organization of energetic patterns in the subtle body. This, in turn, influences brain and emotional activity. This technique is used in advanced energetic approaches because it quickly mobilizes stagnation and activates the energetic memory of the original state of presence. It is a direct way to move out of mental states of confusion or exhaustion and return to a clearer, more centered, and receptive field. The quantum mind is not a thinking mind in the usual sense. It is a field of expanded perception, where information is not processed logically, but accessed directly through resonance. To access it, you need to elevate the vibrational state of your body and psyche until the noise of the lower mind loses its relevance. High vibration practices involve combined states of emotional coherence, focused attention, and intentional energy movement. This can be achieved through simple yet consistent methods, such as guided meditations focused on intense gratitude, conscious movement to high-frequency sounds, or even silent solo walks, with full presence in the body and the environment. The body's vibration must be raised so the inner receptors begin to operate in a different range of perception. The quantum mind does not respond to effort, but to tuning. It manifests when you stabilize attention, expand inner listening, and withdraw energy from the anxiety for results. The field of the quantum mind is always silent, receptive, and creative at the same time. The more time you spend in states of coherence and real presence, the more your mind begins to operate on another level. At this point, solutions appear without forced reasoning, intuition becomes more reliable, and synchronicities increase. That's the sign you've moved beyond linear thinking and into vibrational intelligence. The expansion of consciousness is a return to a state that has always been available, but was covered by layers of distraction, conditioning, and fragmented self-image. Human beings are born with open perception. Over time, this openness becomes restricted by the need for adaptation, safety, and control. Expanding consciousness is, in practice, releasing those internal tensions that keep the mind trapped in roles, fears, and patterns. When the mind begins to operate with less noise and the energy field stabilizes, consciousness expands naturally. This expansion feels like an internal widening. Time slows down, perception deepens, judgments lose their grip. You begin to notice connections you hadn't seen before. Patterns that once seemed chaotic gain coherence, and the experience of being becomes broader and more alive. This state is nurtured through continuous practices of presence, silence, and non-interfering self-observation. The expansion of consciousness is supported by simple choices: reducing unnecessary stimuli, keeping the body regulated, cultivating real silence, and being attentive to the now without expectation. When these internal conditions remain steady, expansion becomes inevitable. Every process of mental, energetic, or spiritual realignment has a central point: reconnecting with the higher self. This self is not a distant ideal or a mystical figure. It is the pure consciousness that silently observes everything, that never gets lost, that is already awake even when the mind is in conflict. Reconnecting with the higher self is not a task of searching, but of remembering. It is the act of stopping the struggle with inner reality and allowing the deepest level of your consciousness to take the lead. This alignment becomes visible when you begin to act, choose, and think from a calmer place, less reactive and more in tune with your true essence. When you reconnect, mental noise fades, not because it was defeated, but because it lost relevance. Decisions become clearer, the body responds with more ease, and time seems to reorganize around your new frequency. This is when you stop living from the conditioned mind and begin to respond to life from the higher intelligence that has always been within you. This point marks the end of identification with internal chaos and the beginning of building an entirely new vibrational reality. Each part of this script was created to activate a memory within you, that you are not lost, not behind, and not stuck. You were simply disconnected from the silent source that sustains your true mind. Now you have direct access to what you've always been seeking. But remember, quantum consciousness is a continuous state, not a one-time moment. Return to this video whenever you feel scattered, noisy, or mentally overloaded. Each repetition will deepen the reprogramming and strengthen your new frequency. If this touched you, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share this content with others who are also on this path of transition. Your field influences others, and your expansion is part of something greater. The mind may forget, but consciousness does not.